Hi, this is Michael Scholten's Equipment, and today we're going to look at a brand new machine from Kubota, the U-48-5 zero tail swing machine. It's a new product for Kubota. It fits right in between the KX040 and the U-55. Let's take a look. So this machine has the same style cab as the 057-5 and the U-55-5, but it's a new machine. It's the U-48-5. It's not identical cab, but it's very similar. It's got good leg room. Historically, Kubota made a U-45 machine that was very similar size to this. Back in 2008, they discontinued it. There's a couple reasons they discontinued it. Lack of sales, it wasn't a very popular model. Wasn't very comfortable to sit in, and that kind of made the lack of sales in my opinion. And the third reason they discontinued it was there was a great recession going on in this country, and they needed to cut back on production and make models that people wanted more than, they kind of cut back the unpopular models, so to speak. Ever since then, it has been a gap from KX040 to U55. Kubota's had a gap where some of the competitors had a machine that Kubota did not. Hence last year, they released this machine. It's taken us a while to get our first machine. This might be one of the first ones in the country. Well, there's probably 5 more that are before this one, because this is serial number 1006. So they're just starting to ship these. I don't even have the coupler yet for this machine. So I wanted to do the video though, because this machine is sold, and with how things go around here, the coupler could come in, it could get installed, delivered that same day, and I wouldn't have a chance to do a video. So I chose to do the video before the coupler and the thumb showed up. Anyways, but let's take a look inside. Like I said, of the U45, the predecessor to this, that there's been almost over a 10-year gap. The predecessor had very small, didn't have very much room for legs. Because with zero tail swings in the past, they had to sacrifice leg room to get the zero tail swing. But they've redesigned, Kubota's redesigned all their U series, so they have way better leg room. And the U48 is no exception. Sitting in it is almost identical dimensions to the KX040, which I have parked over here, for size comparison purposes. I don't notice any difference sitting in this machine versus a KX40, and that's a huge accomplishment for Kubota, because when you hear U-Series, you usually think about sacrifice comfort because they're trying to shove everything inside the track so you have no tail swing. But I even took a measuring tape. This has got a slight advantage, like I'm talking 1/4 inch over the 40, which a lot of people are used to. So, bravo. So one of the things that on a U-Series zero tail swing machine, manufacturers will do, and Kubota's not exempt for it, they make the tracks a little wider than they may do on, say, a KX model. These tracks are wider than the KX040. I believe if I put the tape to it, we're sitting right about 76.5 inches wide, versus on the 40, this one just came off a truck too, so it's kind of dirty. We're at 66 inches. So the U48, even though they're very similar weight class machines, it is a wider footprint machine, just so you know that. To get the zero tail swing, sometimes they do that. This is a heavier machine. It's about 1,000 pounds heavier than a 40, but it has wider tracks. So one of the other things to get zero tail swing machines, they don't have counterweight hanging off the back. So usually you sacrifice a little bit of reach. And the U48, it's got good reach. It's actually got a couple more inches of reach by measuring the boom than the KX040. The reason they sacrifice a little reach is because if they have too much reach, they don't have enough counterweight, it could get a little tippy. So the engineers go about it as a way of what makes it most safe and comfortable to operate and get the most reach at the same time. And it has, for measuring the pins, it's very similar boom. It's not the same boom as the 40, but it's a very similar boom. And coming to the end of the stick, this is where stuff's gonna get a little different for Kubota. If you're used to a KX040 and you're thinking about the U48, the coupler that you get with the U48 is an 057 coupler. You can put 057 buckets on it, but Kubota does not recommend it because the buckets on the 057 are a little bigger, a little heavier, and because they're heavier, it might cause the U48 to be a little more tippy. So they do have a whole set of buckets that are different from the 57, but have the same coupler that you can get for this machine. So at the dealer meeting, it was virtual, so you don't have the chance to talk with the dealers saying, hey, what are you gonna order with the machines? Are you gonna go 57 buckets, or are you gonna go 48 buckets? Because they gave the option for both, but they did recommend going the 48 buckets for better performance. So I ordered a little bit of both, neither of which I have here because I haven't shipped them yet. But it's kind of gonna be an option for the customer if he has 57s and doesn't wanna change if he wants to use the same buckets, he can still do that. They still have the same couplers, but the 48 will have its own bucket if you want it. So you can see these machines are quite different in looks and in size. You got zero tail swing here, and you got tail swing here, of course. You also might notice the 48 does look bigger. Part of that is because it is bigger, and the other part is because the KX40 here is still a -4 machine, so it's not technically the -5 that this is. So I imagine when they do release a 40-5, it's gonna have maybe a slightly bulkier, bigger cab, a little bit more modern styling, but you can definitely see the differences in looks and physical size. If you're debating between still getting a 40 like you're used to, or maybe jumping up to a U48, this is what they look like side by side. In today's day and age, inventory is tough to come by, and if you're looking at these two machines, there's a good chance you might not be able to compare them side by side. So I'm gonna try to do everything I can for you, the customer, on seeing what the big difference is on the cab of these machines, measurement-wise. So we're just gonna run through some measurements. Seat to window would be the first one. And I go to the window, and to the seat, it's all the way back. You're about 19.5 inches. If you go opening, I'm gonna go widest point opening, so it's about right here to here. Weather stripping is a little tough. You're at 22.5 inches. If you go height, so I'm gonna go inside opening to the height, you're at 53.5 approximately. And then width, let's go width, because I think one of the improvements on the new cabs on the -5 is the width of the seat, but we'll see. I've never measured this before, so we'll see if I'm right or wrong. You're at 22.5, armrest to armrest. Let's do one last measurement. It's kind of one that not a lot of people think about until they sit in one for a while. It's foot pedal to the back of the opening. So how much room we got in between here and here? And you're right, a little over a foot, probably 12 inches, 12 and a quarter. We'll call it 12 and a quarter. And then, of course, these flip up and down, but we'll measure them with them up because that's really when it matters. Anyways, let's go to the 48. I can already tell, like, just some things like going, the 40 has like a little bit more of a rolled entrance, so there's not as wide. I can tell this is gonna be way wider. All the way through to the bottom, not just up here. It's gonna be all wide the whole way down, but we'll measure right here at the widest point. We're at 24 inches wide on the opening. Let's go seat to window. You're at 19 and a quarter. Let's go, I'm not a carpenter if you couldn't tell. I have a hard time with a tape measure. You're at 58 inches tall on the opening. And let's do foot pedals. You're at 12 and a quarter, just like the 40. Armrest to armrest, you're at 21.5 inches wide. So I don't have these notes sitting next to me like you do on the screen, but these cabs are very similar. And that's something to be said because zero tail swing machines usually don't have as much room as, say, a conventional tail swing. And much to be applauded for Kubota designing this cab the way they could and fit it on this chassis. I'm pretty excited about it. Oops. So this video, I didn't cover much about what's inside the cab because this is a -5 machine similar to the 57 and the 55-5 that I've already done videos on. And this machine comes available with all the same features. It's got the LED lights, it's got the rear camera option, it's got the big screen display, it's got the seat adjustments, the radio controls. It's got the auxiliary thumb control that's way easier to push on and off. It's right on your thumb. It's got all the same stuff. And if you want to see what that's about, check out one of our 57-5 videos because I go into more detail on the inside of this machine, which is no different than the 57-5. The only difference is this doesn't have as much room inside as the 57-5. So it is a different cab, but it has all the same technology features that the 57 and the 55-5 had. Again, thanks for watching this video. It's a quick video on the summary of the U48-5, a machine we really haven't got a lot of chance to see up until now. It's also super cool to have serial number 6 here. I don't know if we've ever had that low of a serial number at Scholten's Equipment. Anyways, hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, give us a call or shoot us an email on our website. We have a new website up and running and everything is still picture and price, including the U48-5. Get your orders in today. Thanks.